Hello and welcome to a new edition of Planet Waves TV for Friday, the 8th of October, 2021. My name's Eric Francis Coppolino, the host of Planet Waves FM and the author of the newly returned Planet Waves Weekly Horoscope. Hello, and first, an announcement. The new Planet Waves FM it comes out tonight, usually comes up at about 10 p.m. Eastern Time at planetwaves.fm. The show's on demand, so that's when I post it. It's available from that time forward. It's not like a television show where you miss it and have to find out when the next time it airs is going to be. And tonight's going to be a special edition, mostly with one focus. Alex Jones, of whom I'm not especially a fan, but I do appreciate him sometimes. And when you bust out a big story, you bust out a big story. Alex Jones, or one of his research team, found a video on C-SPAN from from October of 2019, October 29th, 2019, including Anthony Fauci and a bunch of bigwigs from places like the Department of Health and Human Services and former government people and some nonprofit people, somebody from Flu Lab, a nonprofit called Flu Lab. And what this meeting was, and now is, because it's suddenly been thrust into the present tense, is essentially a brand management or marketing committee or focus group, however you want to think about it, where the topic was rebranding influenza to make it more frightening and sexier. Yes, more frightening and sexier. Therefore, they could achieve better market saturation with flu vaccines and also roll out a next-generation universal flu vaccine made of mRNA technology. It's only 33 days from then until the first case of the Wuhan flu is reported. Incidentally, a person with no contact with the market and who was already sick, and none of his relatives got this thing. But he was the first case of this allegedly contagious virus, and then from there on in, it was a real shit show. And what is incredible about this meeting on October 29th, 2019, is they lay out the entire business plan for what they are about to do. This apparently is the new rule of the ruling class, the overlords, the 1%. You say it, therefore, when you do it, you're exonerated. It is absolutely astonishing. And I will have this program. I'm planning to work on it the entire day, and it's possibly going to be much shorter, more focused version of Planet Waves FM on this one astounding topic. All right, so again, planetwaves.fm, and that goes up or went up Friday, the 8th of October at about 10 p.m., usually before Eastern. All right, so we all seem to have survived the Libra new moon. The interesting thing about the Libra new moon was that it was a conjunction of the moon, the sun, and Mars, all in the same exact degree. So that places, let's go a little closer in on that. Let's zoom in there, the control room. That places a lot of emphasis on Mars, and it makes it a very Marsy time, and we're seeing a lot of aggression right now. And let's say impolitic behavior. Mars in Libra is not very politically astute. But the other thing about Mars in Libra that we're living with for a while is that Mars is a visitor from over in Aries. And so when you have the opposite signs, could use a little diagram here, Aries being here, and then Mars rules Aries, but it shows up in Libra. Well, what you get there is kind of like an outsider or a visitor or an interloper showing up somewhere where it's not necessarily welcome. And we're living with this for a while, and this tension. It's like having a house guest in your house who doesn't really belong there, and you don't really like them very much, and they don't really want to leave. And because, so the sun and the moon and Mars made a conjunction, and then the moon, of course, moves quite quickly. It just moved right out of that alignment the same day. but the Sun and Mars move at about the same speed. So they can hold a conjunction for a few days. Mars is always slower than the Sun, but they're close enough that a conjunction can last a few days to the degree conjunction. And that's what's going on right now. So the to the degree conjunction continues through this unusual aspect that takes place on Saturday. What time? Takes place at 12:07 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, according to my penciled-in notes there. And here's what it looks like. It's the Sun, Mars, and retrograde Mercury. So right away, when you have... So it's a 3-planet conjunction all in the same degree. They're all fast-moving planets. So that's really interesting. When you have fast-moving planets all aligning in the same degree, it happens. It doesn't happen that often. It's always a little unusual, and it gives you something to read. The thing about astrology charts, especially for beginners, is like, look at all this stuff, splattered on the plate. Like, what do I read here? Well, when you've got a triple conjunction like this, you've got something to read. And retrograde Mercury conjunct the Sun, first of all, means Mercury retrograde is half over. This has been a long one, and people are feeling it, and there's all kinds of chaos going on. And furthermore, Mars is going to be in the conjunction, and so the Mars in the conjunction means that we're halfway through to the next Mars retrograde. In case anybody's wondering where that is, the next Mars retrograde begins October 30th, 2022, so that's in about a year. So the last one was about a year ago. The next one's in about a year. We're at the midpoint. So we're at the midpoint of retrograde Mercury, and we're at the midpoint between the Mars retrogrades. Okay, well, what does that mean? Will that help you get a date on Saturday night? Well, who knows? It might. But what it's telling me is that the Mars cycle, the Mercury cycle, and the Sun, Mars, and Sun, Mercury, and Mercury to Mars, all those cycles turn over at the same time. Recently, I clicked on one of those cheesy astrology websites, which I do from time to time, to see what the cheesy astrologers are saying, and one of them said, I don't know how she interpreted it. I wasn't tempted to watch any further than one sentence, so it must have been really good. But she said, "Hello, Libra. You have many new cycles starting in your life this month." Okay, that's good. My company's Libra, rising. All right, so many new cycles starting at the same time. All right, what else? So that happens at about noon Eastern on Saturday. So we're in the midst of that. So we're in this new cycle time. New moon, Mars Mercury conjunction, Sun Mercury, Sun Mars, etc., etc. Got that all going. Now let's just look ahead a little bit. And okay, one other thing. There's always like, what does this mean? What should I do about it? And I've been doing this long enough to know that actually people just find this stuff interesting to know. And in my mind, if I just put words to the chart, that assists people in... It's kind of like a little bit of a solvent. It's like mixing the paint with water. I'm the water, and the chart is the paint. And then it's easier to work with. So it's like kind of a pre-preparation stage. So what I would say is, with all this Libra, that paying special attention to the details of your relationships and the details of anything that is transactional in any way is a good thing and a suitable thing for the time that we are in. Libra's all about relationships. Now, one interesting bit about the fact that there's activity in Libra, let's see if I can do this smoothly while I'm recording, is that it looks like yesterday on the 7th or the day before, Venus changed signs. So we're talking a lot about Libra, and when you talk about Libra, it helps to talk about Venus, because Venus is the ruler of Libra. So if you can read Libra two ways. One way to read Libra is to look at what's in Libra. the other way to read Libra is to look at what its ruler is doing, and its ruler changed signs from Scorpio to Sagittarius. That changes the tenor of Libra. It's like Venus sends the vibes back to its sign. And what I haven't had, I'm just noticing this right now as we speak, is that there was a mutual reception going on because Mars is in Libra and Venus was in Scorpio. Mars is the classical ruler of Scorpio. I'm not big on modern rulers, but I use them sometimes. But I love the ancient rulers. And the ancient rulers, according to Ptolemy and all those Toga people, is that Mars rules Scorpio, Venus rules Libra. When you switch them, they're in mutual reception. So this doubles the placements. So this means that we symbolically had, in any one of the events I've just gone over, you can pretend that Venus was in the conjunction. But now Venus has changed signs into Sag. The mutual reception is over. Melanie Reinhardt, my old friend who lives in a cottage in England and writes a lot of books, likes to call a mutual reception a hostage situation. So whatever that hostage situation was, it might be over. You might not be a hostage to whatever it was that you were a hostage to, and let's move on. All right, now we're moving toward future. I'm writing a new horoscope for Tuesday. This is the chart that I'm using. I like to use hand-drawn charts for everything. I learned a couple of years ago that the person who taught me astrology by writing a fabulous horoscope column, Patrick Walker, also kept a stack of blank wheels on his desk and would just draw charts himself. This is not calculating a chart. It's basically copying over the details you need from computer drawn or out of the ephemeris. You don't need to calculate the degrees for a chart like this. You just need to know approximately where everything is and what the aspects are. And you have those in your mind for the most part. You do this long enough and you kind of memorize the whole friggin' thing. So what I'm looking at here is Venus trine the Sun. How do we see that? Sun, let's call it Sun. There's the Sun. Jupiter, not Venus. I haven't had breakfast. Sorry, this is not easy. I don't have like the whole control room set up here. Here's the Sun. Here's Venus. Jupiter, the other benefic, Jupiter. They're in a trine. Trine is a 120 degree aspect. Previously a square. I'm going to get everything wrong today before I get it right. A trine is kind of an opening. So that goes with Venus changing signs, entering Sagittarius. Venus entering Sagittarius points to Jupiter, which rules Sagittarius. Oh, that's nice. Things are looking up a little bit. When you see Jupiter and the Sun in a trine, whenever you see Jupiter and the Sun in a trine, you know Jupiter is about to station retrograde or direct. Jupiter always stations retrograde or direct when it is trine the Sun. One way or the other, it is. So that's what I'm looking at in this horoscope. Not a lot has changed, though it is noteworthy that Jupiter, I got that right, in Aquarius, got that right. Jupiter in Aquarius is not exactly long for the world. Jupiter got into Aquarius in December of 2020, made that stunning once-in-a-lifetime conjunction to Saturn on the winter solstice. By the way, if you're wondering, you think Jupiter conjunct Saturn in Aquarius, how wonderful. Well, if you're wondering what this whole scary clown show, we're looking at, where everyone's trying to hunt everyone down with a hypodermic needle, and where everyone has to do the same thing, that's Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius. Jupiter has religious overtones. Science has taken its place as the new religion. Here in New York, if you listened to last week's Planet Waves FM, the October 1st edition, I featured two whole agonizing minutes of New York's new governor, Kathy Hochul, qualified for her role by being the former Erie County clerk. Can't get better than that. Giving a rant in a church to a group of parishioners of the church saying, God wants you to have the vaccine. Now, I don't know if that's okay with YouTube that I said that. Maybe she's right and maybe she's wrong. But that she said the word God 8 times in 90 seconds. That's like once every 11 seconds. So when the governor of a state has to get a Democrat, has to get in front of an audience on television and say, God wants you to do this thing, that's religion, not science. Or we could say science has absolutely taken over as the new religion to the point where you don't even need to mention science anymore. And why are they having any trouble getting anyone to do this thing that's supposed to save their life? First, they were enticing us with donuts, Mets tickets, and Yankees tickets. Then they had to upgrade to a lottery for free tuition to the State University of New York. And then, it just used to be pretty cheap. And then, now, get this thing or get fired. I prefer the donut. I didn't eat the donut, didn't get the shot. I have celiac, and the whole notion of injecting something to me seems patently ridiculous. So all of this Aquarius is the insane pretense and overemphasis of science. Stick a lot of air quotes and ink quotes and all that kind of quotes around it. And further, it is the everyone has to do the same thing and be the same. Jupiter and Saturn are going to leave Aquarius soon enough. Jupiter at the end of the year, Saturn in March of 2023, early March. And the next thing that happens is Pluto. Pluto is going to enter Aquarius in late March of 2023. And then we have the option for our lives to be one long, endless episode of Black Mirror. If our lives are not one long, endless episode of Black Mirror already, we have the option to have them be even more of one long episode of Black Mirror. And I won't say what that's about. If you have Netflix, this is not an ad for Netflix. I promise you, any sensitive person will not be able to watch more than maybe 2 episodes. It's that frightening. And it's about what happens when technology is allowed to completely take over and where we live in a technocracy. We are already very close to living in a technocracy. My ability to shoot video in my office, high definition now, and send it to you is the nice part of the technology that we have. But when it becomes a technocracy, in other words, when it is government exclusively and entirely by technology, we are under another jurisdiction. There is nothing anywhere in the Constitution or any law that says that you must take someone's injection and face anything in the United States, anything other than a $5 fine. Have I got a $5 bill around here? I don't. A $5 fine. $5. Not your job. Not being thrown out of college. Not giving up your scholarship. And I know that most people watching have, for whatever reason, gone along with this. And I am sorry that has happened. I am deeply sorry that has happened. And I am also speaking to those who have not gone along with this, mostly. For those who have not gone along with this, I am here to say you are not alone. And no matter what anybody says, you're not crazy. Please tune in to planetwaves.fm tonight at about 10 Friday or after at about 10 p.m. Eastern Time, and I will have my version and my explanation of what this meeting exactly was on the, I don't know what day of the week it was, 29th of October, 2019. By the way, I'm watching this frame, I'm noticing this square behind my head that I need to change that. But that is it's a topographical map of New York State, which I put up last year. I went onto like maps.com, and I like maps. I'm starting to. I used to frame a lot of photos, and now I'm framing maps, different New York City subway maps, and an 1895 map of my region before the reservoir was built, and this current topo map of New York, which, if you know what you're looking at, you can see where all the glaciers were because they kind of moved around the Adirondacks and kind of followed the flow of them somewhat and all that. And the reason I put that map there is so that in case I'm ever trapped in New York State and can't leave because there's a biosecurity zone preventing me from getting into New Jersey, at least I'm reminding myself that I'm in one of the great states. There's everything but a tropical environment here. There's ocean, there's mountain, there's kind of boring flatlands, there's a number of meekly interesting cities, and New York City, where I'm not allowed to eat in a restaurant. Yeah, the world is in such wonderful shape. Folks, friends, longtime readers, ancient readers, new viewers, it is time to wake the fuck up and pay attention, and please stop going along to get along. Do the right thing. Thanks for watching. Signing off from Kingston, New York. Early Friday morning. This is Eric Francis Compolino. I'll catch you tonight with Planet Waves FM. Bye for now.